This is the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Strangers become your brother. They got your six swinging back against that wall. And you will never have another who cared for you when times got rough. That's a brother. For you when times got tough, that's a brother.
And now, your host, Brian Basham.
Hey, welcome in. This is Brian with the Forgiven Soldier radio show. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week. We have had a great season so far, and if you've listened to the episodes before, I've always mentioned one guy in pretty much every episode, because everybody seems to bring his name up, and it's Mr. Andy Brasher. Andy, thank you so much for finally being on the show, man.
Hello. Well, thanks for having me, Brian. I'm glad we could make it work today.
Yeah, so we go back a couple years. I mean, we've known each other. I think you started knowing my brother first, and then I kind of just morphed into it, but we'll get into that. But you were supposed to be on the show 2 years ago when it was still like the podcast, and we still might do it, but it was like going to be cool. It was going to be you, Josh Merritt, Drew Wadd, Brian Ray, and we're going to do this little summer campfire song session thing. And then my wife came down getting sick, and we've been dealing with that since then. But it still might happen, but that's how long we've been going back and planning on you being on the show.
Right. Yeah. This show goes back for 2 years. Yeah, that's right. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. Because that was a great idea, and we should go back to doing that.
I think
at
we
some
will.
point we'll make that happen. The campfire sounds really good.
It does sound good. It sounds, especially today's the last day that's going to be 80 degrees and it's going to get colder, so it might be fun. But since then, you have done a lot of stuff, sir. Porchfest is kicking off in one of the premier events of the summer. I wish it was a fall event. I really do, because it's super hot. But it's a great event nonetheless.
Well, I'll tell you what, for the last 2 years in a row, I probably shouldn't say this without knocking on wood and thanking my lucky stars, but for the last 2 years,
I know what you're gonna say.
The weather was absolutely perfect.
It was.
Oh, Tamara's gonna kill me for saying
she
that.
She is, because the years before that, it rained every time.
Every time, yeah. Get your mud boots out.
I helped out one year with Brian Ray. He talked me into it, and we were loading people's stuff, and I mean, it felt 150 degrees that day. But I don't know if you know who they are, but this band had a full jazz band, and they had keyboards and they had every instrument known to man, and we had to unload it onto a porch. And I thought I was going out. I thought I was falling out. And Brian Ray had to stop me. I ended up sitting in his truck for about 20 minutes, just drinking water and getting air on me. I was like, man, that was a lot of equipment.
Yeah,
a lot of equipment. So, but it's a fun event. I mean, just the concept of being on a porch and all that stuff. So, how did that? Let's start there. How did that event come about, and what was kind of the thinking of it?
Sure. So Porchfest, the term Porchfest actually came up to me. I'm going to say probably 2016, 2015, something like that. I was touring through Florida and southern Louisiana, and I had some gigs I had a gig in New Orleans, and also I can't remember, somewhere else down south. But I had a Saturday completely open. So I've got some buddies down there in Morgan City, Louisiana. So I called them up and I said, hey, I'm in the area. I got a Saturday off. I'd rather be playing music. Can you get me into a gig? And they said, yeah, we're doing this thing in Morgan City called Porchfest. That's Saturday. We can get you on that, no problem. And so I said, all right, never heard of that. I have no idea what to expect. And I'm like, that's cool. You just, we'll give you an address, you got your speakers with you or whatever, just bring them and you'll set up on the these people's porch and just play, and people will be walking around. So I still don't really fully comprehend, the idea, and it becomes even more awkward as I'm driving closer to the place, and I'm in this little, Morgan City is, I'm going to guess here, but I'm going to say, 30,000 or something like that, maybe a little more, a little less. And so they have this little square, the town square or whatever, and there's these old, really nice Victorian homes that surround that. And so I'm put this address in my GPS, and I pull up to this place, and I'm getting a little more nervous because I'm like, I'm fixing to knock on these people's door that I've never
so
ever met before, and be like, I'm Andy, and just hope that triggers in their mind, like, oh yeah, we know what you're here for. Yeah. I'm here to play on your porch. And it was I can't remember their names, but the guy was a dentist down there, and his wife, and they were the sweetest couple. They said, "Oh yeah, you're Andy. Yeah, is there anything we can do for you? Like, can we help you with your equipment?" No, it's just a speaker or two. Where do I set up? Right here on your porch? Yeah, we'll just clear everything out of the way. We got some power for you. They were so nice. Do you need a drink? You need anything? So I set up and I start playing, and then, I'm watching the sidewalk as people just start drifting by, and there's people pulling coolers behind them. There's people pushing, baby strollers in front of them, families.
Just a huge block party.
Pretty much, yeah. So, and I just fell in love with the idea. And the guy, Francis Sicard, was the guy who actually organized this, and I ended up meeting him by the end of the day, and he was somebody that I hadn't known, but he was friend of some friends, yeah. And so I got to talk to him about Porchfest and get his, like, where did this idea come from for you? And he had heard about it from another community somewhere else in the U.S., I think maybe in Ohio or New York or something, and you could tell just talking to him how important it was to him.
He was passionate about it.
Yes, very much so, and the community value. And their goal was to raise money to build a park for kids there in that square.
Oh, amazing.
And they actually, they achieved that, I think, maybe last year. I just talked to Francis 2 or 3 weeks ago. He just called to catch up and stuff like that. So they've met their goal. They raised this money to create this community park for children, and in memorial of his son who had passed away early in life. And so he was, there was a very strong personal tie between him and this community and this Porchfest. So that was my first experience with it. And back here in Owensboro, couple years later, Tamara and I saw where Evansville was doing a Porchfest, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Have you ever heard of this? She said, no. And I said, well, we got to go because we got to check it out. And they were doing it in the Haley's, is it Haley's Junction? Is that what they call that area? They were doing it in that part of town, and so she's checking it out for the first time. I'm seeing a Porchfest again, and
But now you're seeing it from spectator.
The spectator side. And we had some friends that were playing up there too that we specifically went to see, but she was blown away. She was like, oh my gosh, I can't, this is awesome. This is so good. And couldn't quit talking about it all the way home. And so she's like, we should do this in Owensboro. And I thought, I don't know who better to do it. We care about music, and we care about the community, and this is something that we could do. Yeah. We can put time into this and create it. So that's where we got started.
It's amazing. It's an amazing event. One day I will play on a porch, maybe 20 minutes. If you got 20 minutes for me, you know what? I did try to get on the porch with the worship band.
The worship band, yeah,
I did. Yeah,
you don't know how close you got.
I know
you were really close.
We've only gotten better. So we've only gotten better, and as a team. So
well, it wasn't. I should say here, it wasn't a matter of talent or anything like that. It was a matter of time and space as to why.
I get it.
Why
we need a big porch.
You guys were right there. I just needed I just didn't have a spot.
It's okay
at the time.
It's all right, but I still came to the event and still enjoy it. And I'm a big fan of music, and I've said it in many episodes. Music for me is a therapy, just from struggling with anxiety and everything that comes with life. I'm not even going to blame the military on it. I think in life, people have anxieties and stuff, and they need stuff to cope with. Mine just so happens, one of the things seems to be music. So, I can pick up a guitar, as bad as I am at it or whatever. I've gotten a lot better, but it's still like the action of it and the movement, it just kind of takes my mind off of everything and kind of shuts it down a little bit. So for you, when you got started, you might be a little bit older than me, but when did you start like playing music, and when did it actually become like a love, like a relationship? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So I started playing music. I was always around music. My family was a very musical family, especially my dad's side. And so my granddaddy Brasher played guitar, and I didn't know this, but after talking to my uncles, he always played fiddle and was actually a pretty good fiddler. So all my uncles played guitar, not all of them, most of them did. And so it was around, it was in the family. I picked up some stuff from my granddad when I was, probably 5 or 6 years old. Learned a few things, like 8, 9, 10 years old. Just there's always a guitar around, and I pick around with it. But as far as really getting into it, wasn't until I was 14, and I asked my dad to really get, I'm like, I really want to learn these chords. And so my dad sat me down and showed me the chords, and from that point on, I was hooked. And I think at that point, I was just mesmerized by the instrument, I think. Mm-hmm. And I'd always when I was a kid, I'd go to sleep listening to music. We grew up.
What'd you listen to?
Whatever was on the radio.
Oh, okay.
So we grew up in a single wide trailer out there in Knoxville, and I would fall asleep listening to, I guess, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, whatever.
Yeah,
what was on
mine was the
radio.
Eagles.
Yeah,
loved Eagles.
Yeah, our household was very much country music. Yeah. Until about I was probably 9, and my aunts used to. So we just had the bunny ears TV too. Yeah. So we didn't.
My mom still has it.
We didn't have CMT or MTV, but I had an aunt that did have it, and they would tape on VHS tapes every so often. They would record music videos, and then they would give it to us, and we could watch it. So I'm watching music videos from, 6 months ago. Yeah. So then I see, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA. You see the to this day, the Bangles. What's that song? Is this burning? An eternal flame. Yeah. To this day, that I'm mesmerized by that song, just because the music video, and there's these 3 very attractive ladies singing this very attractive music. But there was Wham on there, and there was Devo and all this cool stuff. So that was when that's how they sold the music, is the videos. Mm-hmm. In that time, now it's you hear the song and then they make the video, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. But it might be coming back. I don't know. I mean, I see music videos all the time now. Yeah, it's great. Anyways, continue. Yeah. That opened my world up big time. But anyway, I really loved, listening to the music. And, I remember even having a cassette, a Walkman or whatever, and I would listen to Leonard Skinner as I got older, and I'd be out, hunting with my dad or whatever. We'd be deer hunting or something, and I'm supposed to be listening to the woods and all that stuff.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner out there. Yeah,
I put my headphones on. I'm listening to Leonard Skinner while I'm deer hunting, and I'm thinking about these solos and stuff. So I was very intrigued with the instrument at first, and like, how can I recreate these awesome sounds that I'm hearing from this guitar? It was all about guitar for me, And I guess the words too were starting to creep into my mind. Yeah. I wrote my first song when I was 10 years old, and
do you still play it?
No, Lord, no. I can't even remember it. I remember that the hook and also, which was also the title of the song, was one verse hurting song. And it was something like, baby, I know our love is ending, like a one verse hurting song.
You're 10.
I'm 10 years old,
okay.
right? I don't even know what I'm talking about here. I've yet to kiss a girl at this point,
Yeah.
but I have heard all this music talking about these things, and I can kind of, I'm trying to recreate what I'm hearing.
You're being a sponge, right?
I'm being a sponge, and yeah, exactly. So, but
that's kind of like Michael Jackson. Like he wrote a song when he was 10 about a mouse.
yeah, I think
And-
his was way better than mine.
A little bit, but I haven't heard yours. I don't know. I can't compare. But I mean, Ben is a classic song. And if you didn't know it was about a mouse, it's about a mouse. You're welcome. But just being 10 years, like I wasn't thinking about this stuff at 10 years old. Like
He grew up in that scene. Though,
Yeah, he
he was
did,
like,
yeah.
he's like what, 4 years old? He was like 3 or 4 or something with the Jackson 5.
my
It was
parents didn't care that much.
incredible. Yeah.
But they really did. They let me be a kid. Like I was able to be a kid and be stupid and get in trouble.
We could do a whole episode on Michael Jackson and his
We could, yeah.
issues.
We're going to just skeet on past it a little bit. But
So I'll go back to so now I'm 14 years old, and I really want to get serious about guitar, and I want to learn all this stuff. So that it was all about the instrument for me at that time, and just getting better, and then like learning. I remember one of my milestones was being able to play guitar and sing at the same time. It
Yeah.
was a huge one for me, and I was like, oh my gosh, all right, now I got it. And then like this whole world opens up. Now I can learn all these songs. And then from there, I got into writing songs. And at first for me, it was all about, that around that age, 14 to 18 years old, and all the things that are going on in your body with the hormones and
Yeah.
your life in general. You're not a boy anymore, but you're not a man either, and you're going to high school or junior high or whatever. And there's a lot of awkward stuff going on. And I think I used songwriting as a means of expression,
Like an outlet.
first,
Yeah.
as an outlet. And then later in my songwriting, I began to, use music, like you said before, as a therapy, also. But it was, at first it was an expression, and it remains an expression, but that was, that's exactly where it started.
yeah. Well, we're going to take a break here. We're going to go back and talk a little bit more to Mr. Andy Brasher. You're listening to 90.3, the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show.
Mine a bird, you know all the words. You just sing the songs that you've always heard. Isn't there something that you'd like to say? Something you've held at bay. Mine a bird, you have friends. Where are they now? While you sit on your lonely bough, as the evening turns into night, have they all taken flight? Mine a bird, oh, you lonely little thing, mine a bird, just sing. Mine a bird, you know all the words. You just sing the songs that you've always heard. Isn't there something that you'd like to say? Something you've held at bay. Mine a bird, oh, the stars outshine you, the moonlight blinds you. Your state is just a facade, a place you feel closer to God. Mine a bird, oh, you lonely little thing, mine a bird, just sing. All your friends, where are they now? As you sit on your lonely bough, while the night turns into day, have they all flown away? Oh, the stars outshine you, the moonlight blinds you. The curtains on your stage are drawn, and you feel the impending dawn. Mine a bird, oh, you lonely little thing. Mine a bird, oh, you lonely little thing. Mine a bird, you don't owe me anything. Mine a bird, just sing. Mine a bird, you know all the words.
John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." Thank you for listening to the Forgiven Soldier radio show.
Veterans Empowered Together is a nonprofit 501c3 organization made up of veterans for veterans. We want to personally invite every veteran out to our Coffee with Veterans event every second Saturday of the month. If you have questions or want to get involved, our website is www.veteransempoweredtogether.com and our number is 270-852-6518. Find all the current events on our Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Veterans Empowered Together.
The Forgiven Soldier radio show. Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere.
Hey, welcome back in Forgiven Soldier radio show. We are still here with Mr. Andy Brasher. If you missed it, first part, we were talking about Porchfest, and then we talked about Andy growing up and how he became in love with music and the songwriting part of it. So you say you were about 10 to 14 when you started like honing the songwriting skills, right? At 10, you were talking about love of your life.
Right.
Which is crazy, right?
Which hadn't happened yet.
Which hadn't happened yet.
Using my imagination.
Yeah, it'd be cool to go back to the song and like see how close you were.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in middle school, high school, did you like play at the high school?
I did. I participated in some Battle of the Bands or talent show type competitions and things like that.
So we always had, so I went to Hancock County and Brett County, and they always had like talent shows, right? And I always loved music, but I was always too afraid to like put myself out there, even through high school and stuff. And I didn't get my confidence till I joined the military. And then it was like, I don't really care what people think anymore, you know?
Yeah.
But so in high school, like that, I always wanted to do that. It's getting like one of the talent shows and all that stuff, but I never did. Did you ever do like a talent show in school? Like,
yeah, I did. I know at least,
where'd you go to school out here?
Ohio County High School.
County.
Yeah. So we moved from Knoxville to Pleasant Ridge when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And then, so I went from, like halfway through third grade, all the way to graduation in Ohio County.
Okay.
But yeah, I think my senior year, my first band did the talent show. I want to say we won. I know we did some, we did like the Davis County Fair talent show, and we lost to a girl that was doing a jump rope routine, and that was kind of a setback for us.
Calling a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like, man,
she had something. I guess she was real good though.
She killed it.
She killed it.
Yeah,
nailed it. So, but anyway, no, we ended up winning the. I think we won. Let's just say we did. I don't know that anybody remembers.
You won.
Somebody's gonna call in that went to high school with me, and
it's like he did not win.
He did not win. We need to get this straight. So, but you mentioned the campfire thing that we're going to do eventually, and that for me in high school, that's kind of where it all really started. Is hanging out at campfires, and I've got a guitar and I know how to play it, and I've also got songs that I wrote.
Yeah.
So that was my first experience with among my friends and classmates to say, all right, here's this song.
Yeah.
And I think that's what. I got a lot of good feedback from that and was received pretty well, and so I think that's what gave me the confidence to keep playing and doing those things. And so in high school, another thing we did with the band was we found a couple little places. Like there was the old McHenry school had been closed forever, but it was still you could go in there and stuff. Somebody owned it, and you could like rent it for weddings and stuff like that. And then there was a gas station between Pleasant Ridge and Hartford that you could do that with. So we started promoting our own shows with our band, and we would tell our classmates
in
about
high school.
it
Yeah,
in high
awesome.
school, and we'd print up flyers and stuff, and be like, "We're going to play this Saturday."
Before social media, and before all these outlets that everybody has.
Yeah, and we'd sell tickets, at the door. So we're trying to make money, in high school, putting on these performances, and making enough money to like pay a couple $100 to rent the place for the night or whatever.
Yeah.
And then,
That's epic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I never experienced anything like that in high school. I remember there was a band that a couple of the kids that went to the high school they started. You remember the Moon Crickets?
Heck yeah, I do.
Okay, so I went to school with all them guys.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah, and Daniel White is a good friend of mine. Grew up together.
Yeah, me too.
And amazing guitar player. No offense, best guitar player I've ever seen in person.
None taken.
In my life.
Fantastic.
And I try to steal as much stuff from him as I possibly can, but he's got like 10 kids, so I can't. Well, he actually has 5. I ain't gonna bash him. Beautiful family, but anyways, so the Moon Crickets was the closest thing to what you're talking about, and they're amazing.
Yeah,
good time.
Yeah, so when we graduate high school, and now we're like 18 and 19 years old, and back at that time in Owensboro, they still had some clubs that were like 18, for 18 and up or whatever. You didn't have to be, they weren't necessarily bars, And so we started getting into those places, and we would play. We'd get paid to play, and that was the greatest. That was so cool. But the Moon Crickets were doing kind of the same thing. So that's kind of where our paths crossed when I'm around 18, 19 and meet Daniel and the rest of them, because we're kind of, working the same scene. They're doing a similar thing to what we were doing.
Just that experience. And I was in the military at that point. I was already away. And there's so much local talent in this area, and there's been for years. I mean, you talk about like Marty Brown and all that stuff like before us, and then kind of us growing up like Jericho Woods. So I went to school with them in Breckinridge County, and just seeing like the talent, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like just the history of it. So when you were coming up, like you grew up listening to country music, is that kind of where you wanted to go, or is there other genres that you're like, it'd be cool if I could write a song in this genre and kind of go that way with it?
Yeah, no, actually, I completely abandoned country around the time that I was in high school and stuff, and I was really listening more to rock and roll and alt rock back then. Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains were in style at that point, and I loved that. Of course, I was also listening to the 60s and 70s rock and roll and stuff too. Your Black Sabbath, your Jimi Hendrix and the Who and all that stuff. So I was really very much into rock and roll, and I was into shredding guitars and half stack amps at that point. So if you're imagining the young Andy Brasher band, we were called Dickie Swift at that time, playing out in Owensboro or Ohio County or wherever, we were playing rock and roll for sure. And the songs that I was writing were rock and roll songs, at that point.
Do you have any swag left from, what was the band called?
Yeah, my buddy Dino, Dickie Swift. My buddy Dino brought me a shirt the other day that he had held on to forever.
That's
so
awesome.
I've got it at home, and I think I've got another one too. We made a couple runs of shirts. I've got a couple of them.
So you got a good thing with the throwback brands, the hats. It might be something. Might be some like throwback hat.
Throwback to Dickie Swift. Heck yeah. You know what?
I'd wear the hat, man.
This is a good idea.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk to Travis about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That might be a throwback thing.
I think
that
it
might be a
is.
throwback thing.
I think it is.
So awesome. So you got your guitar. I asked you. So Cam Thompson was on last week, and he didn't even bring his guitar. I'm
What
like,
the heck?
he said he threw his voice out and he couldn't sing. So I text you. I'm like, hey, make sure you bring your guitar. But you got your guitar. So one thing I like, so for me, the very first song that I ever learned was Time of Your Life by Green Day. And it was easy chord. It was the only chords that I knew, the G, C, and D, and then the E minor. I had to, learn the E minor, and I thought I was making it.
Yeah, man.
Because it was
that minor chord's pretty cool.
Minor chord, it sounds amazing, and it makes you, sound like you can play a little bit. But here's an example. You remember, what was the? Yeah, it's just so eerie, and it moves the story along very well. What was the first song that you ever learned how to play on guitar?
I don't know if I remember. Oh, I do too. Yeah, the first one I learned how to play was this one my granddad taught me. Wildwood Flower.
Oh yeah,
that was the first one I learned how to play, and then the first one I learned how to play and sing was a song by Alabama. My home drinking was forbidden in my Christian country home.
Great song.
So I learned to play the flat top to them good old gospel songs. Yeah. My home's in Alabama. That was the first one I could play and sing. And
That's an amazing song.
What a triumph it was for me.
Yeah. So I got my guitar in Iraq, and there was a guy there that knew how to play guitar, and he taught me the 3 chords, G, C, and D. And I'm going to keep it very short because I've told this story like every episode. So anyways, he taught me the chords. I played it for 13 months straight, those 3 chords, and played them up until about 10 years after I got it. Like, that's the only thing I learned. And it wasn't until I joined the worship band I started learning more chords and all that stuff. And I still have the E minor, and I throw it in every now and then. But yeah, I still play Time of Your Life. Yeah. Like when I get, so a routine, when I get up and I'm getting warmed up and I tune the guitar, and you got to get your fingers loose a little bit, Time of Your Life every time.
That's the warm up.
That's the warm up. Yeah.
Cool.
And so I have a question. So the warm up. So when you're up there playing, you know everybody does it to get loose and everything. Do you have a particular thing that you play as a warm up? And if you do, did you turn it into a song at some point?
That's a good question. So, yeah, I do. I just, it's really basic. I usually just play a basic bluegrass. Just mess around in the G scale. That's usually what I do, warm up my fingers, and it kind of turned into a song, I guess. But that's such a basic, thing. It's
basic riff.
It's in on so many songs. So.
Yeah. So on the songwriting, do you even have a number on how many songs you have written in your life?
No, it would be a guess. I would guess it has to be over 500. I'm not sure how far over.
That's crazy.
But yeah.
Is there one that sticks out?
They're all good too. They're all fantastic.
Oh, for sure. Every one after the one is the one.
Yeah. Hey, that's true. Nothing true has been spoken. Yep.
And I'm finding that out very, like, I write one and I write, the one after that, I'm like, that's pretty good.
Somebody says, what's your favorite song you've ever written? It's the last one.
The last one I wrote.
It's the last one I wrote. Yeah.
Well, that takes away that question. No,
sorry.
No, I was going to say, is there a song that does stick out, like, that means a little bit more to you? Not per se the best song you've ever written, but means a little bit more to you and you keep it close to the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there one that you got there?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Let's play it.
Indian is the one. And see, I can play without my capo. I wrote this song. Yeah, that sounds right. I wrote this song without a capo, but it's in the key of B, which is it equals a lot of bar chords, where you're laying your index finger down over it, and that can be really hard on your thumb, because you're trying to press all 6 strings down, basically almost every chord when you start that way. So I wrote it this way.
See, that's why I love this show, because not only do you get to hear the history of music, but you also get a little music theory in the midst of it too.
I can't help it, man.
I know.
I told you.
A teacher's a teacher.
I just start to talk and I don't know where I go. But as as the years went by, I ended up starting to use a capo on it because I realized it was going to be way easier on my hands to be able to play some open chords there. But yeah, this is so I wrote this in 2003, and this is the second song that I wrote after I heard that my good friend Tommy Roop had passed away. And I, outside of family members, grandparents, and an aunt. I hadn't had anybody very close to me die. And he was one of my best friends. So anyway, this is the second song I wrote. I wrote one, and I guess I decided it wasn't good enough. And so I was actually in the middle of writing this song when I realized it was for him. So you'll notice in the song, I'm speaking, first person to a woman. And that's because I started the song out and I was speaking to a woman, and then about halfway through I realized that I'm talking about the loss of my buddy, And so I just kind of kept it that way, and I never told anybody that forever, just not. I don't know why. I just never did. Never really felt like talking about it or explaining anything about it. And then also too, I'd been playing it for so long, and had the song itself kind of had its own little fan base, people that had heard it, and they kind of interpreted it the way they wanted to. And after a certain amount of time, I was like, I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want to take away what people are interpreting here, And so, but anyway, yes, this song is definitely the most personal to me and has been forever. It's like when I play this song right now, it's going to feel the same way it did when I played it the first time.
That's amazing.
It's yeah. I always thought you was the prettiest woman I'd ever seen. And I'd watch you go flying by, riding on your Indian machine. You'd say, hop on my motorcycle, baby, let's go chase down some lost dream. And I'd go with you, baby. I always was fond of causing a scene. And no matter how many times I lost you,
you could always be found. Till I was standing alone in front of your stone, staring into the ground. Wish you could see me right. Yeah, it took me a while, but I fixed up your old bike. And it goes much faster now than it ever would go. And I can imagine that you're in the wind that I feel blow. And I'm only one crash away from your side, just so you know. Well, I've been playing all night in this barroom, it's smoky as hell. You know, I think I'd be a whole lot better off just to go back and do my drinking at the motel. Well, since you've been gone, I've been doing what you always said I should do. Just chasing lost dreams with my guitar and my homemade tunes. And I've got a few new ones now, you know, I think you might like to have heard. Oh, but try as I might, you know I never could bring you back with any of them words. But you're with me when I write. Yeah, it took me a couple of years, but I fixed a all-road bike. And I ride much faster now than either one of us ever dared to go. And I can imagine that you're in the wind that I feel blow. And I'm only one crash away from your side, just so you know. I'm always one crash away from your side, just short of letting go. I'm only one crash away from your side, never letting go.
That was Andy Brasher on 90.3 WKWC.
Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is my strength. This is the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. Put your faith above everything, but have your family close. Online at forgivensoldier.com.
All right, welcome back in. This is Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. We're with Mr. Andy Brasher. So we just heard Indian, one you wrote for your buddy that you lost. And we were kind of talking off air a little bit. So I was like, let's not waste this. Let's let the people know. So we were talking about the songs that you hold close to your heart that have a special meaning, just like you wrote it for a specific purpose and a specific person. So if somebody was to come up to you and say, hey, we want your song and we want to cut it, like, what does that look for you?
Yeah. Well, like we were saying, with that song, Indian in particular, I don't know if anybody would want to cut it, but I'd be fine with that. I'd let, because it really doesn't affect, me and my connection to it.
Yeah.
I would be, but I would feel a certain way about it. I would be a little
protective.
I would be a little protective, and I'd be a little anxious. And honestly, I have recorded that song for commercial purposes, so it falls under what you would call it a compulsory license. So I wouldn't really have to give anybody permission to record it.
Yeah.
They don't need my permission to record it. They just have to pay me.
Yeah.
We
need to talk.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't, but I don't have a problem with that, but I would be a little anxious if somebody was to cut that song. At the end of the day, I could always separate myself from that, because the connection between me and the song are kind of untouchable.
For sure.
And we're
job.
over here.
That makes sense. And I think of songs like that are out there that are mainstream, that kind of had that same, the one that came to mind was Tim McGraw, Live Like You Were Dying. And I don't even know, I personally don't know if he wrote that or if somebody wrote that and then he just threw his life into the song, but I know his dad's struggling and he had a weird relationship with his dad or whatever, but the video was about his dad. So it could be like, again, you write a song and somebody cuts it and be like, oh yeah, I had the same thing, and
right,
kind of throw it into it.
And
so.
it could be perfect for him, really, like it was perfect for Tim McGraw. I think that was either Buddy Cannon or that guy from Nashville Stars first season that wrote that song.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think he wrote it.
I don't think Tim wrote it.
I know he made it his own kind of thing and put a spin on it. Another guy I thought about was Hardy. He put out a song, and I know he wrote his. On Gold Street. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry, Hardy, if you're listening. He's not. But I was talking about When You Get to Heaven.
Oh yeah, I think I heard it this morning already.
Yeah, they've been playing it a lot, and it's like 4 years old. But
hope you have some house with a 10-acre field. That one, and
Hydro Clear from the Man Upstairs. Yeah. Great church song if you ever want to play.
Give Heaven Some Hell. That's it.
Give Heaven Some Hell. But he personally wrote that about a guy, but.
Yeah.
There are people that listen to it like, I got a buddy
that's me. That's my, That's how powerful the, interpretation is. And whenever I write, I kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Or I have, at least to this point in my writing career, I've always kept, interpretation in mind, the listener's interpretation. And if it isn't something that I specifically want for myself that needs to be like, use all the specific details and stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to keep that in mind, and I try to keep things general
for sure,
and just evoke the emotion behind what I'm saying, but leave some of the details kind of up to interpretation.
Never write a song with names in it unless it's for that specific person.
Right.
But then I say that, and there's songs Amanda.
Well, I
that
mean,
are catchy and people sing them.
Even names, don't have to necessarily be specific.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They can.
I mean, for Amanda's, that song is like perfect. They're like, hey, I got a song.
That's true.
Sarah, it's another one.
That's true.
And, but anyways, enough about
Sarah's and Amanda's.
Sarah's and Amanda's.
Out of it for
I
now.
have a Sarah.
I'm sure they're fine.
I have a Sarah. I'm married to a Sarah. And I love you.
I have a
Just
sister.
want to say that, but we're moving past you. Let's talk.
Now I feel like I got to give my sister Amanda a shout out.
Okay, yeah, you do.
There you go.
All right, we'll have a cut. Well, anyways, let's talk about Brasher's Little Nashville. You want to?
All right. Yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah. So that first off, place is amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. And everybody that I've had on the show so far has said amazing things about it. And it's all walks of life that come in. I'm not an alcohol drinker, so you won't find me at a bar too much. Maybe VFW and Vets, but that's kind of just part of the realm of what I do. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I've been to your bar, Brashersville, Nashville, probably about 3 or 4 times. And it's a little out of zone for me because I don't drink, but you have great water. I want to tell you that.
Thank you.
But just the atmosphere alone, like the stage and the windows outside, and it looks like Nashville. Like you walk down Main Street of Nashville, that's what it looks like. And it's so amazing for Owensboro to have something like that and a place for local artists to go and share their craft and get better at their craft as well. So how did that come about? And I guess what did it take to make that happen in a short version? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like not all the other stuff, but like what, like you had a vision, like just how long did it take to come up to make that happen?
I'd say it was, I'm going to guess it was probably 4 years, from concept to opening the doors.
Yeah.
And it started out as just like most things in life do, as a conversation between people, you know. Yeah. And Tamara and I were with some friends. I was actually, and also my band in Florida at the Floribama, which happens to be one of our like favorite, you know, bars and honky tonks, music venues in America. And we were there with some friends and just talking about in general how cool that place is.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to play on stage in a little bit, but we're just hanging out and talking with our friends. And somebody said, you know, we ought to have something like this in Owensboro. There's nothing like this, you know, really in Owensboro. So that's where the conversation started, and it was one of those things that just kind of never got put down. It was always like, do you think we really could, you know? And, you know, I've traveled all over, you know, playing in, you know, obviously we've done some big stages and stuff and fairs and festivals and, you know, headlining concerts and stuff, but we've also played a lot of bars and honky tonks and music halls. So I've seen a lot of them and have been doing it for a long time. So I've seen a lot of places that, like the Floribama, one of the places that I love. I'm like, this is just so cool. And it's done so right. It's not just like these people care about the musicians. These people care about their staff. You can tell. You can feel it when you walk into the room. They care about their customers. Holy crap. And then there's some that are not so good that way. And you see that. And so as we're having this conversation, we're like, let's do the things let's do this. If we do this, let's do it like the places that we love, and let's leave out the stuff that we've seen
that we don't like,
that we don't like, and that doesn't work. So, and so we, like I said, it was just a conversation, and then we started talking to some other people. You know, we start talking to a realtor. We start looking at properties. Just still kind of thinking. I'm back in my mind. I'm like, we can back out at any time
for sure.
Here, I've not signed anything. You know, and then you look into the details of, well, what would you have to do? And you talk to contractors. Still, you know, not signed anything, so we can always back out. That was always in the back of my mind. Like, we don't have to do this.
Is it still there in the back of your mind?
Oh, hell no, it's not there anymore. Now it's replaced by pedal. We've got to do this. Yeah. We've got to do. There is no backing out. There is no turning around. So, but anyway, we just kind of baby stepped ourselves into it. And I think we were really, we took our time with it. You know, we didn't rush into a decision on where to put it. You know, what building are we going to go into? We really took a long time. And I think that was, you know, wise on our part. And because once we did get there, we, you know, felt confident that we could do something. And the thing that we wanted to do, aside from, you know, borrowing things from places that we loved and leaving out things that we didn't like, was we wanted the vision was for it to be a music venue first.
Yep.
And a bar second. Which kind of goes back to what you were talking about. Like, we wanted this place to be, we want you to think of it as, this is where I go to see music.
Yep.
I can also get adult beverages here or whatever, you know. You can also get Cokes and hot dogs and whatever.
You got food.
But music first, music venue first, and bar second. That's the way we look at it in our minds. And so, and for me as a musician, it was very important to from the very first steps of the building process to be thinking about sound and to be thinking about musicians and what they need. So what needs to, how does the stage need to be? How's it going to fit in this room? What about electrical outlets? What about power in general? What about lighting? What about, those type of things? And how can we better accommodate music and musicians here?
And it's an amazing place for people just starting out and people who have a lot of years of experience, right? And I got a cool story about Brasher's Little Nashville. Like when I wrote my first song, I played it at Brasher's Little Nashville for the first time. Nervous as all get out, but it was received well, and I was like, okay. I was like, this song might have some traction, and I've made a lot of money from it, like $14. So
awesome!
Pretty pumped about that.
Good. It's probably
a recording artist.
More than you had in it, right?
More than I had in it. No, not at all. Not at all. But my wife tells me all the time, like, what are you going to do with it? I was like, I don't know. It's just there. But,
did you have it? You get a recording? Is that what you're talking about? As far as what you got in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still need about $400 for that. But, so when you opened up and everything, was that in your mind? Did you say, as a artist, like, I'm going to take a step back and just see this thing grow a little bit? Did you take some time off from playing music, per se, like going out, go out of town and touring and all the stuff that you were doing before that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of, it was, I don't want to say it didn't, kind of happened naturally, but it was kind of forced that way too. 'Cause we opened up and we're doing the building, leading up to getting open, in possibly the best time / worst time.
Yeah.
So it was 2020.
Yeah.
I had just released my album Minor Bird.
Yes.
Which I put a lot of money into.
Yeah.
And still very, very happy with it and great songs. But my tour, so Minor Bird was set to come out. All the PR was already out there, all the media outlets and stuff like that. We had coverage from Billboard magazine, and what was one of my other favorites was Saving Country Music, had done a write-up on it and whatnot. And so it was coming out April the 3rd, regardless. And March 16th, the entire world shut down. I remember I did my last gig somewhere up in Evansville, and I lost 95% of the 2020 tour overnight, and my album was fixing to come out. Not complaining. I don't want it to sound like I am. It just, obviously there was a lot of people that had it a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah. I think it's natural. I think everybody has a story of when the world shut down. Like,
everybody was affected by it. And, not to make this conversation all about that, but it, the first time in I think everybody on the planet's memory or history of dealing with something like this, it was just completely so. But my family is great and blessed. We are very, very fortunate. And so but it was a bad time to put out an album, and so we lost all that tour. But at the same time, the inception of this Brasher's Little Nashville idea is happening too. And so I think it turned out to be a great thing, because now I'm off the road. I'm not playing. There are no gigs to play. And so I'm here in Owensboro, and I
100% focused.
I get to be 100% focused on the build out of the building, of the the back end stuff you got to think about, management, hiring employees, getting things set up, all of that kind of stuff. So it actually worked out.
And there's a silver lining when it comes to March of 2020, and you kind of, I won't say you started it, but for the local talent in Owensboro, you started a YouTube Live and a Facebook Live, and you played music and you took requests, and it was kind of like being at one of your shows. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not saying you started, you're the first one I caught. And I'm like, this is a great idea. Like, a lot of people should be doing this. And I know Josh Merritt followed. He did live stream. I know Drew did some as well. And it was kind of cool because for a guy like me who doesn't go out to bars and, and it's just, I don't go, but I miss out on a lot of cool acts and cool stuff that happens.
Yeah.
But I was able to go to a concert. Like I was able to hear Andy Brasher play and not worry about being judged or whatever, and so I enjoyed it. That's my silver lining. I know you didn't.
No, I did. Well, honestly, I mean, it was a silver lining for me too, and a lot of people like us, because, so it is what it is. I don't get to go out and play, but having the ability to do those lives and stuff, I swear I felt like I was with people. And of course we're locked down at home, but when I turn the computer on, I'm starting to play and I'm getting feedback through the chat or whatever. I'm with people and it's keeping me from going insane, and I'm getting to do what I love to do and get this feedback from people. So for me, it was really awesome. And I've got a cool little story about that. So this happened a few months ago, I think. And there's a guy, he had his family with him, a family of 4, I think. And it was a Sunday, and I was getting the patio chairs out there in front of Brasher's Little Nashville, getting ready to open up for Sunday morning Bloody Marys and stuff. And this guy and his family's there, and they introduced themselves to me, and they were fans of those live stream shows. Awesome. And they were from Columbus, Ohio, and they had come down to Evansville to see, like, maybe it was Kenny Chesney or somebody was playing at the Ford Center. They'd made the trip there, and the guy said, once we knew we were coming as far as Evansville, like we listened to every live you had, and my daughter requested all of these songs. So I don't know these people, never met them, but when they say that, I'm like, that's right. You wanted to hear Wagon Wheel every time. I remember. It's nice to meet you and stuff. But they were like, yeah, you talked about in those lives how you and Tamara were going to open this bar and you were working on it. And we told ourselves, hey, whenever he gets open, we're going to go visit. And sure enough, they did. And I got to meet the whole family. And that was just awesome. And these are folks that we knew each other from those live streams. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's silver lining. Like I got connected, closer on those lives, like just being at the house and just in general, for us, it sucked, but it was it brought our family together, and we did a lot of stuff together that normally we don't do. I know my daughter requested Let It Go on there, and he sang it. So it was just an amazing time. And I just want to say I appreciate you for everything you do in the community, everything you do for the music side of it, or just in general. I anytime we talk about music, I always bring up Andy Brasher. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just the way that you go about life. And just like everybody, everybody has their opinions, but everybody I've talked to has always had good things to say about you. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being on the show.
Well, thank you so much, Ray. You almost got me speechless. Almost. I do appreciate.
I was trying.
I do appreciate those kind words. It means a lot to me. We share a common love. That's what it's all about. It
is. Well, let's play out. You want to play out a song for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll let you pick it.
Well, I've got a new album that I'm working on, and everything the basic tracks have been recorded. Working with my longtime producer, Harry Smith, who's down in Nashville. Him and Ross Hogarth produced my last one. This one is just Harry, and everything's recorded. We might see. This is probably what I'm going to play is going to be most likely the single.
Okay.
And we're hoping, we may see it by the end of the year. This is called Sweet Tea.
Sweet tea, fill it on up for me. Don't you ever let your man go dry. Whoa, sweet tea, so sweet on me. Yeah, she's smooth as glass, baby, that's no lie. Gonna fill my cup till the day I die. Late in the evening, as I sit thinking, looking off the back porch through the pines, my thoughts grow heavy. Oh, but then she bring it to me, yeah. Well, my baby come to cool me and soothe my mind. Oh, sweet tea, fill it on up for me. Don't you ever let your man go dry. Oh, sweet tea, so sweet on me. And she's smooth as glass, baby, that's no lie. Gonna fill my cup till the day I die. Why? Whoa, in the heat of the day, I'm working like a son of a gun, and my hands are stiff, my back is feeling tight. She's moving across the field, seems to hover, I wonder if she's real, till she pulled me in the shade, down by the riverside. Oh, sweet tea, fill it on up for me. Don't you ever let your man go dry. Whoa, sweet tea, she's so good to me. And smooth as glass, baby, that's no lie. Gonna fill my cup till the day I die. Whoa, pulling her to my lips for one more sip. It's as close to heaven as I've ever been. Sweet and strong, I'm drinking it in, and she tells me I will never be thirsty again. Oh no, whoa, sweet tea, well, fill it on up for me. Don't you ever let your man go dry. Sweet tea, oh, she's so sweet on me. Well, don't you ever let your man go.
You've been listening to My Dad on the Forgiven Soldier Radio Show. The Forgiven Soldier Radio Show is a broadcast service of Veterans Empowered Together and 90.3 WKWC.